The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. As the world learns to adjust to and adapt to artificial intelligence, one of the key questions parents and those entering the workforce are asking themselves is, what professions will survive? In other words, what should I study to ensure I can be assured of work now and into the future? Ajay Patel, the president of Vancouver Community College, answers skills and trades. AI can't mimic the uniquely human skills needed in these fields. So as the world adjusts to the role of AI in the workplace, Vancouver Community College has pivoted to integrating its course load to ensure students are equipped to utilize AI in careers that need human skills, dexterity, and judgment. We're not afraid of AI, says Patel. We're embracing it and ensuring our students are the best equipped to meet the needs of the market now and into the future. I invited Ajay Patel to join me for a conversation that matters about the vital role community colleges are filling in equipping the workforce of the future. Ajay, welcome.
Good morning, Stuart. How are you?
I'm great. I'm really kind of interested to have this conversation right now because AI is everywhere and everybody's talking about it's going to take over this, it's going to take over that. These jobs, especially if you look at sort of data entry jobs and clerical jobs, AI is going to play a role that could diminish the number of jobs. But when we start to look at the skills that somebody learns in a community college, AI may enhance, but it can't replace. So let's talk a little bit more about what is that unique human quality that skills demand that AI just cannot replace.
No. First of all, at Vancouver Community College, for example, we have this mantra that we call real learning for real change. And the word real is really important there, and real meaning real life situations. So if you were to walk into our campuses, you'll see real auto shops, real salons, real restaurants, real that, and those have people working in it. And so you need a lot of those human skills, whether it's interaction with each other, customer service. Certainly artificial intelligence is going to change the types of jobs that we have, but it won't take away the key human elements that we need to serve our learners, to serve our community, and to get some of the work that we need done. And if you look at the labor market, that's really going to be important, particularly in the area of skilled trades.
Well, you bring up an important point. When you look at the labor market, we keep hearing there are gaps. And a lot of people maybe go for what had been traditional professions and find there aren't the gaps, but they do exist in skills and trades.
Right. So if you look at the current labor market outlook, we have about 1.1 million jobs that are going to come available over the next decade. And so about 38% of them are going to require some sort of a college diploma or apprentice or trade certificate. And a lot of that training needs to happen in the workforce as well as on campuses. And I think that's where artificial intelligence helps in terms of the training. But through that training, students learn that artificial intelligence and can take that into the workforce and help the workforce adjust. And so I think you're seeing a real shift in that. The other thing you're starting to see a real shift in is the value of a trades education, because it goes beyond the traditional 2 years where an individual, once they've done the apprenticeship and are working, it's a professional practice for them. So an auto mechanic goes in every day to try and be a better auto mechanic. A chef goes in every day to try and be a better chef, a more creative chef. And so those are types of things that we have to think about in the trades, is how it is a professional practice, and that they try and become better at the skills and the trades that they are doing in an effort to serve the customer or the community that they are involved with.
You mentioned it's like a 2-year program. Are most of the skills and trade programs about a 2-year duration that you go from being like a complete neophyte to having entry-level skills?
It depends on what route you go, but generally we'll say it's 1 to 2 year programs. But there's also the apprenticeship that you have to do the Red Seal, and that could take upwards of 3 to 4 years, and we're trying to condense that into 3 years. But traditionally 1 to 2 years to get you into the workforce. Many of the programs, though, that we have, they start off with foundational training, and they can go and do a number of hours in the workforce, come back, get some additional training, go and do a number of hours in the workforce, and eventually get their appropriate levels of certification, and ultimately a Red Seal trade certificate for the ones that have them. So they're integrated into the workforce as soon as we can. And one of the things that we are trying to do at VCC is have them into the workforce quicker. Is there an opportunity for us to get them into the workforce quicker, combined with the learning, so that they are in the workforce quite regularly and they are bringing those learnings back to us, and they are taking what they're learning from us and taking that into the workforce. And so I think that's the paradigm shift you're starting to see in skilled trade training, because the reality is an employer wants to have an employee as soon as possible, but they also want a competent employee.
So who benefits the most when you get them into the workforce sooner? Is it the student? Is it the employer? Or is it the overall system? Because you talk about they're going back and forth. And so does that then enhance the quality of the education that you're able to provide?
At the end of the day, the system and community benefits as a whole, but ultimately it's the learner that benefits as a whole. Here, a good example is you might be shocked to learn that just a recent survey in 2025 that we just did of our students, 57% of the students that we have at VCC already have a degree, which means they are individuals that had a degree, have come to us to either upskill, mid-career learners that are looking for a shift or a change, or somebody that's just looking for a complete change in their life and have come to us to take up that opportunity. And so, yeah, that's a shocking number. I see the look on your face. 57% of the learners in 2025 through our student survey show that they already have a degree of some sort and have come back to VCC anywhere from a certificate to a 2-year diploma training. And really, it's for the betterment of their own quality of life, looking for something different. And so when you say who benefits as the whole, I would say ultimately that learner benefits. But remember, I am talking about the learner in the context as a lifelong learner. And maybe to add to that, the average age of our domestic student is 29 years old. Oh, sorry, 30 years old. The international student is 29 years old. So again, we're getting the high school kids, but we're also getting these mid-career learners. And this whole concept of lifelong learning is something that I think we all need to embrace and really be aware of.
So I'm a bit surprised when you talk about this, average international student 29, average domestic 30. Why do they wait? Is it because in the school systems that feed into the workforce and post-secondary education, that those systems may not appreciate the value that skills trade education can provide?
Yeah.
Is it like, does that play a role?
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head, actually. I think I've got a son that's just graduated from high school, and I think what we have is we're in this traditional model of you got to finish high school, either go to a college and then university and get your degree, and that's the way the world works. And certainly in the era I grew up, that's where my parents pushed me towards. But the reality is I think we're looking at a whole different era, and we do need to change right from kindergarten right through post-secondary the way we think. We are getting individuals ready for lifelong learning. And so as they come through the high school system, I think we have a bit of a stigma with the trades and the skilled trades training area that we need to adjust that, hey, they can have a bona fide career in skills trade training. Not everybody, but a number of them can. And I think the earnings opportunity is huge for those individuals as well. Plus, they're into the workforce quicker.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. Let's say we take a look at somebody who goes, okay, I think I want to be, I don't know, an auto body mechanic. The dynamics of auto body work are constantly changing, and the need for auto body mechanics or specialists is never going to go away. So can you say, I can start this career and I can grow within it throughout the entire arc of my career?
Yeah, that's exactly what a lot of students do. They come in, they do the auto program, and then they actually go out and work in auto shops, and they can work anywhere from a Canadian Tire to a local auto shop. But a significant number of them end up opening their own businesses. And guess where they come back to hire the grads that they need to work in their auto body shops? They come back to us because we've got those industry connections. If you were to walk into our campuses, you'll see all these auto bays that look like a real shop. Well, they are a real shop, and that we do some real work. You can bring your car into our auto shop and you can have it repaired, you can have it repainted.
So as a member of the general public, you can come in and have your car fixed.
Be part of the learning experience, just drop your car off. As long as it lines up with our learning schedule, we're able to do that. I get my car fixed at VCC all the time, and it's an opportunity for students to learn. We've also just finished a really cool project in where our students got a vehicle donated from ICBC that was written off. The students worked on it, and the students were able to donate that minivan back to the Pacific First Nations Association of BC, which is allowing a minivan to use for a nonprofit agency that helped with that agency. So those are the little things that we can do.
Really get to be a part of the community. Yeah. So You talked about the number of people who go into different skills, whether it's electrician, plumbing, chefs, auto body specialists, and so on, that then wind up opening their own business. Is the rate of entrepreneurialism, which is dropping generally in Canada, significantly higher in people who have like exceptional skills and trades?
I'll argue that it is. There hasn't really been done a proper study around that, and we would like to see that done, because if you follow many of the skills trades training individuals throughout their entire journey, we tend to have a look at, after they've done 2 years of schooling, are they employed in that area within 2 years or 5 years? But what's the 10, what's the 15-year outlook? Did they open up their business? Did they help contribute to a community? So the next time I would suggest, if you go to your local auto shop or you go to your local salon or your local restaurant, ask them where they got their education. Even my barber was trained at VCC in the old days when it called the barber school. So I don't think we think about it in that context. And so we really need to promote the concept of how the skills trade training can be a pathway to entrepreneurialism as well for those that want to seek that.
Well, what I like about it, because I'm so fascinated by the people who choose an entrepreneurial path, is you have to have a proficiency in an area that that there's a business case. And one of the things that I think about skills and trades is there's always a business case, because every single industry needs to rely on those people who make whatever it is work. I love your barber or your hair salon example. Yeah. Once you've got that skill, the barriers then to entry drop.
Right. I think about it as that I mentioned earlier, a professional practice. So these individuals, once they become competent in the skill, they go out and they professionally practice and try and become better at that skill. And as they become better at it, they can help others, but they can also seek out new opportunities of how they grow their business. In terms of the labor market outlook, we know we're going to need these individuals. So there is a lot of opportunity if we can help push the entrepreneurial side, and the opportunities are there. But I think the most important piece is to capture them at that high school level and show the opportunity beyond just becoming a mechanic, that you can actually become a business person or own a car dealership, or for that matter, go on a whole complete different career path if you want to.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. I want to come back a little bit to the AI component in all of this, because everywhere you turn now, you have to be aware. And how important is it from a curriculum perspective that you're introducing this into, constantly looking for those tools that can enhance, not replace, but enhance one's ability to perform their jobs?
So everybody will probably equate the AI evolution to when ChatGPT first came out. And I remember when it first came out, we had a conversation amongst our executive team, and it was very clear as an institution, we collectively believed that we should embrace this. We shouldn't try and resist it. And so that really started the first push of how we're going to use AI.
Right.
During the pandemic, one of the things we had started using was virtual reality and augmented reality training in auto. So for example, one of the things you have to learn in auto is how to paint the car. Well, you can spend a lot of money on paint, just learning how to paint, but we actually had virtual reality painting. And so a student had to achieve a certain level of competency in a virtual situation before we brought them into the shop. That gives them as much practice time as they want. That cuts down on our resource costs, and it maximizes the opportunity for the individual as well in a safe, inclusive environment. So that was the first start of that. And so when the AI GPT came around, we've just started to now embrace that in everything that we do. So we now have culinary program that actually uses these haptic gloves, which helps you learn how to cook through technology before you actually go ever into a kitchen.
What kind of gloves?
Yeah, haptic gloves. They're about $8,000 a pair. You put them on, you put on virtual reality goggles, and away you go. You've got a whole kitchen, and you can feel yourself picking up a spoon. You can feel yourself taking a cup, putting it down on that, or a pan onto a stove. And so you learn some of the basic technical skills before we ever get you into a kitchen to really go work on things. And that way, a student can practice and practice till they achieve a certain level of competency. So that's just one area.
And that's motor skill development,
it is, yes,
as well as understanding processes.
Exactly. And in auto, we do the same thing now with basically, like I said, with the paint. Now we also do it in the repair areas. We're now using that in heavy mechanical trades. And now we've also started looking at that into our health areas with simulation centers and an immersive classroom where not only do we have simulation dolls, but how can we have a 360 surrounding of an emergency ward or a paternity ward or a geriatric ward where you can have all this noise going on, but you have to practice on this simulation patient. So that try and really create successful, real situations for individuals so that when they do enter the workforce, they're ready, capable to take that on.
And so then how does that enhance your ability as an institution to be able to provide educational opportunities to a larger number of people?
Yeah, so first of all, the use of the technology allows us to reach out beyond the region of Vancouver. And so in our auto program is a really good example where we have individuals to come and do the apprenticeship from different parts of the province down here, and the rest of the learning is done online. So that's a really cool part of it. We call it an e-apprentice program. The other opportunity, as we do the simulation center, we're going to have an opportunity to help skill up immigrant individuals that have come with a healthcare background from some other country, and we can actually do some of those competency gap training in our own classrooms and then let them go into the community and help with our healthcare system and enhance that. So those are just some examples that we can use that. So a lot of learning can be done online, and as long as you have a pair of goggles, and they cost about $300 to $400, but you can do a lot of things with these things.
So does that give you the opportunity as an institution to say, it doesn't matter that you're in Sri Lanka, you can still get your basic skills training through Vancouver Community College, and you wind up with the certification that allows you then to move forward. So does it give you that international
So
scope?
that's where we want to go to, is on the international stage. Right now, we want to make sure that we're serving the province of British Columbia. And so right now, as we have this technology built out, we're sharing that with colleague institutions, or we're inviting learners that are out in the remote areas to come and join us. And right now, the auto program is where we're doing the first pilot. We're now working on health as well. And so the goal here is ultimately to go Canada-wide if we can, but certainly internationally as well.
That's a pretty good business model.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, at the end of the day, that's kind of one thing. In my 6 years at Vancouver Community College, we've always been about serving the community, and we find different ways and unique ways of doing that. And I can't take credit for any of these ideas. They came from within the community and within our institution and the employees. And I've always been a big fan of this. We should always follow the learner, because they'll show you the way, because they'll tell you what they want and they'll show you how to get there. I think the other piece I would just add as a nuance is we need to know what industry really wants, and sometimes industry doesn't know what it wants necessarily, and we have to work together with industry to figure that out.
The production of this program is made possible thanks to the support of the following and viewers like you. You know, in a previous conversation that I had with you, we talked about sort of experiential learning rather than theoretical. And when it comes to skills training, the introduction of virtual plus being really in a shop or a bakery or a hair salon and whatnot, how important is it that is the way that the learning takes place? Like, you do it, trial and error, iterative growth, and so on.
That's actually really probably describes VCC programs in general. If you look at any of our programs, we obviously go through the safety elements of it so that everybody enters into whatever setting they are in a safe manner. But once that basic safety training is done, or some elements of it as it graduates, we bring them in. So a good example is the auto students are in the auto shop on day one doing basic things. The culinary students, particularly the ones in the cafeteria, day one is orientation. Day two, they're serving food. And then they learn over time. In the salon, same thing. And even in our tech programs, they're into that environment right away. And it's really important to get them in that environment, first of all, from a safety perspective. Secondly, it's no different than probably being a doctor or a lawyer. You want to be immersed in that environment so that you get a real feeling for what it's like. Because in theory, everything's well laid out and probably sequential. That's not real life. And so you have to be able to adjust. And most importantly, you have to be able to work with people that you have relationships, whether they're coworkers or whether they're the clients or whether in some cases they're the boss.
You know, when it comes to post-secondary education institutions, people go, oh, Harvard and Yale and Oxford and Sorbonne and Paris and so on. I hear people going, oh, the community college where I learned how to. But as we're talking here, Do you envision like the weight or the appreciation that people have for post-secondary education that's focused on skills and trades being enhanced and growing? And so the second part of my question of that is, where does VCC fit into that mix? Like, what's your reputation?
So the first part of that, I do think as the skills training agenda becomes more front and center, you're starting to see that. Maybe a good example to point to a parent would be, so I've got a son that's graduating out of grade 12, and he's thinking about either he's going to go to BCIT or SFU. But the reality is, when I look at the labor market report, if he goes in and gets an undergrad degree in arts and science, or he has a trade certificate, which is 2 years, the earning is literally the same over their lifetime, $3 million of earning on average. That's basically based on our labor market outlook. So let's see, they're in school for 2 years instead of 4 or maybe 5. They have the same earning, and their opportunities might be very different. So from that perspective, I do think we need to start sharing that story so it becomes more front and center. From VCC, I think one of the things is we'll continue to evolve with the community and address the community needs. And that's kind of been our bread and butter. But I don't think we're going to stop serving what is this downtown core area or a Broadway area where this is the financial district, the hospitality district, the entertainment district, and the programs that we have fit those. And we have great industry partners in that. More on Broadway, the access, the health education. We're going to be right next to St. Paul's there. The auto shops there. So I think we're going to continue doing that. And we're going to continue providing the access programs. But I do think for VCC, we are, like every post-secondary, we are going to have to evolve, embrace EI, but we need to do it in a way that it brings everybody along. And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge we're all going to face.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give you an opportunity to brag a little bit more about VCC. Like, there's everybody else, and then there's VCC. Like, when I think about your reputation, nobody ever says, oh, I got a mediocre training there. I think that you have a great place in the education spectrum in British Columbia.
I think we occupy a unique space, and maybe there's a little bit of humility and humbleness in VCC that I'm reflecting as well. We want to be loud about what we do, but we also want to make sure that at the end of the day, it's the individuals that are out there that spread our word around there. And so we occupy a unique space in the areas of labor, in the areas of health, and the access education. Just as a sidebar, one of the unique things you may or may not know about VCC, we are the only institution that provides programming for visually impaired, the deaf, and the hard hearing west of Ontario. Wow. The only institution in the entire country west of Ontario that provides that. And we've been doing that for over 50 years. And so those are the unique parts that make us very different. But the most important thing I'll say, that we have always been part of this community, always have continued to serve this community over our 140-year history. And I think that is what actually gives us the reputation. What I'd like everybody to do is lift us all up and talk about that a little bit more.
Well, I'm rooting for you.
Perfect.
Right here from the sidelines.
Appreciate that.
I'm in awe of the quality of the education that you give, and then the ongoing success over decades that graduates get to experience. Thanks for giving us a little glimpse into what life is like at VCC.
Thanks very much. I really appreciated the opportunity.